power training series with Mr. Darnell Self and Mr. Brian Carruthers. We've been spending the last couple of weeks here going through part 1, part 2, part 3 of the power training series to get re-inspired, to get motivated, to get some really good nuggets about how to take your business to the next level. And so tonight we're going to go over part 3. I identified just a couple of clips that I'm going to play for you. And then there's one final clip that's not in the training, in the power series, but it was played during last week's Super Saturday here in Charlotte. And I thought it was just so powerful. So I really wanted to share that with you all. So let me go ahead and get the video queued up here. And I'm going to play a couple of clips. The first one's about 4 or 5 minutes long, and then we'll debrief, we'll get some feedback, and do the same thing for the next 2 clips. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. Bear with me a second. My sound is sharing. Okay, got that. All right, here we go.
Warm markets that are joining your team. So you can taproot through an associate that is on your team. You can taproot through somebody who says no. Faye says, no, I'm not interested. Hey, totally get it. You're busy. You're not vibing with it. But this business is perfectly built for uninterested people. See, even though you're not interested, you know people who will be. If you could just point me to a few of those people and I show them what's going on and they're interested, they come on board, I will bring them on board. I will sign them up, get them trained up, get them out there, signing so many people up for these services, and they're going to be under you. So you'll be sitting at home on your couch collecting checks while you're being uninterested. So I can take somebody who says no, I can turn it into a yes. But here's how you do it. Just by me being clever and saying that may not get her to say, okay, here's my credit card. But she might say, well, that's kind of intriguing. I say, hey, look, let's just start with 2 people. Who are 2 people you think would really crush this business? Maybe they need to make more money right now. Maybe they are missing time with their kids and they complain about it a lot. Oh, yeah, my sister. Matter of fact, and my best friend at church. What's your sister's name? What's your church friend's name? Give me 2 compliments about each of them. Oh, my sister, she's awesome. She walks in a room, she lights it up. Everybody's attracted to her. Everybody's feeling great around her. She's also really, she's just a huge heart. She just loves her family and so I take that and I call up her sister, Judy. I say, hey, Judy. Hey, it's Brian Carruthers. We never met before. I was just talking to Faye, your sister, and she absolutely adores you. I don't know if she talks like this to your face, but behind your back, she was telling me about how when you walk into a room, you light it up. People they just gravitate towards you. You make people feel great, and you're doing such a great job raising your family. Your family loves you so much. She'd be like, she said all that. I'm like, yeah, I mean, she really adores you. And by the way, the reason why I wanted to call you is because our company's expanding in your area right now, and we're doing some amazing things. And somebody like you, with your personality and your kind of heart and character, could do such amazing things. You keep your income options open to side projects if the money's exciting enough. Yeah, I guess, sure. What are you guys up to? Well, I'll tell you what, that's great. Why don't I do this? I'll send you over a video. It's about 20 minutes long that explains a little bit about our project and what we do and how you help people with it and how you get paid. When can you take 20 minutes to watch it? 8 o'clock tonight after the kids are in bed? Awesome. Or 8:20 when you're done, just give me a buzz. I'll wait for your call. I mean, that was just an exposure through somebody who said no. I just taprooted through, I can taproot through Teresa who said yes and she needs help with her contacts. I taproot through somebody who said no. And then guess what? I go recruit Judy. And I go back to Faye and say, Judy's in. I got her application on the ready, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and put you into the business as an associate. I'll put Judy under you because you're the one who brought her to us. And then you'll be in position to earn overrides and residual income on all these people that she's going to be out signing up. She's like, here's my credit card. Let's do it. So again, the 3-foot rule, 3-foot rule. That basically means anybody comes within 3 feet of you, you're going to talk to them. Now, I was so ambitious and aggressive that I used a 30-foot rule. They didn't have to be right here. If I could see you, I'm going to go talk to you. Now, I wasn't going to follow them into the urinal. I'm not going to do what Darnell talked about. I would wait until they came out of the bathroom and I saw that their hands were freshly washed. But the 3-foot rule, basically, in essence, you're just being a talent scout out doing life. You just go out and do life. You don't have to go out to do Legal Shield. just go out and do life and look for people that you can actually introduce. If you're at a restaurant, you're sitting down and you're waiting for your food to come, talk to the server. I tend to do it near the end of my meal, not at the very beginning, because otherwise they might start asking me a bunch of questions. I don't want to get trapped or whatever, and I don't want them to think, oh, I'm not going to go over there because he's asking me questions. So I'm going to have my food delayed. I just build some rapport with the server about non-Legal Shield stuff along the way. Ask them what they do. Are they in school? Is this what they do full time? Oh, do you have kids? Are they from the area? Build rapport every time they come to refill your drink or whatever the case is. Make them feel happy. Tell them how great their service is, how much you appreciate their smile. And then at the end, hey, I'm working on a side business project right now, on the side from what I was doing in real estate. Do you keep your income options open to side projects if the money's exciting enough, like I needed it for? Again, like I needed it for. I'm not picking on her. I'm picking on me and getting her to relate. And she's like, yeah, sure. What are you up to? And that's where you say, I'll send you a video you can watch when you get home tonight.
All right, so let's talk about that first clip there. I mean, you saw what Mr. Carruthers did, right? You saw exactly what he did, what Mr. Buford always talks about when you are prospecting out in the world, out in the community. Form, family, occupation, recreation, motivation. It's just a natural conversation that we're supposed to be having with our prospects. We're not selling. We're not marketing. We're not those people. We are simply having conversations, getting to know folks, getting to find out what their interests are, what their pain points are. And then when the time is right, when it makes sense to do so, ask them if they keep their income options open, or ask them if they would be interested in a Legal Shield membership, or whatever your script is. So yeah, I like what he said about go out and do life, because we do it anyway. So as you're talking to people, and the more you talk to people, the more you engage with them, the more natural, the more easier I feel it'll be. Anyone have any other feedback or comments on that clip? Any takers?
Here's a question, because I don't ever want to assume that people know what we're referring to. So when we say form, what do individuals believe form is an acronym for? FORM. Not everybody rush to the screen.
Family, occupation, recreation. I don't know, because I would say marriage, but that's not probably it.
Motivation.
Motivation.
Okay. Right. So basically, if you can get someone to share 3 out of the 4 with you, they'll like you. They'll feel like they know you, and they will trust you. If you can get them to share all 4 with you, they will jump in a car with you and go have dinner. Right? So when you meet people, you don't want to be running up on folks talking like, hey, buy my Legal Shield product. Right? You want to talk to them about those 4 things. And it may seem weird to you if you're not accustomed to that in the beginning, but you'll get accustomed to it. Right? For me, that's how I grade myself in every conversation I have with people. Did I form them? And I ask myself, did I ask them about their family? Did I ask them about their occupation? Did I ask them about what they do for recreation? Did I ask them what they do for motivation? What's motivating them? And if I miss some of those, I'm usually a little bit annoyed with myself. Right? So that's what form is about. So thank you, Ms. Glass. You've heard it a million times from me, so I'm glad you were able to recall it.
Awesome. All right. If nobody has any other feedback on that clip, I'll go ahead and move to the next clip. It's about 9 minutes long. It's a little bit longer, so hang in there, but still very, very powerful. All right, here we are.
Let's go to the next. I'm going to share something. That's it. I'll pull it back up. So check this out, guys. When we're exposing We're letting people know about our business. There's a sense of urgency. There's fear loss, play takeaways, all things Mr. Carruthers already shared. Be the messenger, not the message, right? Just like, hey, what I heard, which I'll explain on the next one. Your 30-second story, be vulnerable. Me too. Hey, it's my story, right? I always like to use this story because when I landed in Orlando, a guy picked me up, he was Uber, but he had the Uber in the Lyft sign on. So I was like, my man is not playing, he's getting all the money. So he's a young guy, so I get in his car, and as I always do, I just build rapport. I just ask questions. Asking questions, by the way, is the best way to prospect or compliment, right? Best two ways. But also know your timing, guys. So as Mr. Carruthers talked about, a server. Well, listen, if you're just sitting down, you don't have to say everything to the server. How about just hello first? They've got to come back. They got to bring water, right? They've got to bring your appetizers, your entree. They don't even want to come back to your table because you kept them from 10 minutes. They got other tables. You kept them away from their business and their other tips. Now other tables are complaining because you kept them for 10 minutes talking to them. So don't do that to folks. So anyway, so I get into this, to the Uber. I know I'm going to Shingle Creek, which is like, 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe away from the airport in Orlando. So I know I got time. I don't have to say everything all up front. I got 20 minutes to prospect the guy. I already know I'm going to because that's my life. So I get in, he's driving. I said, where you from, man? He's like, New York. I was like, cool. What brings you down to Florida? He's like a partner of mine. I started a company. I came down here to work with him, man. I said, man, so you doing that plus Uber? Plus I see you got the Lyft sign too. He's like, yeah, I'm doing Uber, Lyft. I partner with my, like I said, I came down here to partner with my friend in his company. So a lot of great things happening, man. We're tearing it up. I said, man, that's so awesome, man. I said, how old are you? Because he's young to say he had all these things going on. And he says, 28. This is when vulnerability means a lot. So he said, 28. I said, wow. 28, man. That year brings back all the memories because that was my worst financial year of my entire life. Like I lost my car, man. My house is up for foreclosure. That was a crazy year for me. And then I paused. And you could see somebody looking through the mirror. So he's in front of me in the back. He's looking. And I said, but 29, man, I was blessed. It turned around. Guess what he said? He said, that's crazy, man, because this is actually one of my toughest years. This is the same guy who just said, I moved from New York. I got this going on. Right? But he needed me to say it first. He felt it was okay now for him to be vulnerable. So he's like, man, this is one of my worst years, man. I moved down here. Things didn't go exactly how I planned with my business partner. I got this girl pregnant. He started going way in. I was like, dude, because sometimes people open up and they go all the way. Well, it's true. I'm sorry, Amy. I know it's being recorded. But hopefully, anyway. So he knows he got her pregnant. So anyway, so my point is, so he says exactly what you all said. He said, so I had to turn around. That's all he wanted to know. And I said, I know you're driving, man, but have you seen this app? And let's pull up my app and did a quick glance. I said, if I want to talk to a lawyer right now, I could press this button and talk to a lawyer instead of $300 an hour for $1 a day. He said, and he cursed, out of here. He said, for real? I said, yeah. He's like, so hold up. So you share that with other people? I said, yeah, that's how I get paid. He's like, right. And so anyway, long story short, I said, yeah, I'll give you my information, man, before I get out the car. And I immediately switched the subject because I didn't want him to start asking a bunch of questions. Remember, another pre-presentation. You see? So I switched the subject. I was like, what part of New York, man? And I just switched it all up on him. Before I got out, he said, hey, don't forget, man. I said, I'm going to get you back. Now he's asking for it because I didn't pressure him. You guys get what I'm saying? But if I was about to get out the car, then I had to hit a quick 30-second story. So it all depends. I've got a 30-second story, I've got a 1-minute story, and I've got a longer time as a server at a restaurant. I'm dealing with the server. A longer time I'm in an Uber. So you got to figure out your 30-second, maybe a couple of minute story. And one is just longer. You're just kind of dripping on them because you're in a place where you're going to be able to talk to them for a little bit. Okay. Now the other part of this that's critical. Yes.
Make a couple comments on what you said.
Yes.
I think something went over most people's heads. You said, I prospected the Uber driver because that's my life. Catch that. That's his life. He prospects all the time. Now, to anybody that's watching this here with us today, or you've seen this later on, and that sparks a controversy in your mind, like, but that's not the life I want to live. Like, I don't want to always be prospecting. I don't want to have to talk to the Uber driver. You don't have to talk to the Uber driver. So here's the point. You get out of this what you put into it. If he says that's his life, I want to sell you on that. Why not? Like, when is it not a good time to be friendly and build rapport and sow seeds of hope in somebody else? Like, when is that an inconvenience? You're sitting in the seat being driven somewhere anyway. You're sitting at the restaurant table anyway. Like, is it that inconvenient to be friendly, build rapport, and sow some seeds of hope? Why is that a bad lifestyle? Why are you like, oh, good for you, Darnell, but that's not going to be my life? Well, what's your life going to be? Scrolling on Facebook, complaining about your bank account, telling your kids, no, we can't afford that. I mean, you got to make choices. I mean, that's a great life, in my opinion. So I would say get sold on letting that be your life. You don't have to do it every day, all day, but just do it as often as you can do it. And the second thing I want to share with you is people don't want to hear about your struggles until you've solved them. If Darnell sat in the back seat of that Uber car and if Darnell's in the back seat, yeah, I just got his chick pregnant too, and he's like, you know, my life's an absolute chaotic mess right now.
So true, man.
Then guess what? He's gonna be like, well, okay, let me just go ahead and run this car off the road and kill both of us. And he's like,
You are terrible.
no, but seriously, I mean, there's a difference between telling your vulnerable story in a way where it's crafted, where it actually is leading somewhere.
Good point.
Like, you want to resonate with their problems in their life by telling them about your problems. If you solved them, I have these problems. Can you relate? I solved them. There's hope for you. Let me show you how I did it. Or it's, hey, I have these problems. Oh, I can relate. Well, I found a solution and I'm working towards solving it right now. I've never been this excited about my future. You haven't solved it yet, but at least you told them you found a solution and you're so excited about your future. That's how you craft it in a way where you might still be in the thick of it, but you are optimistic and hopeful because you found the solution. Now they want to hear about it, but you just matching your problems with their problems. Misery loves company, and nothing happens there.
So good. That's a good point.
All right, thoughts on that clip there? Anyone?
That was a really, really powerful video. I loved it. It talked about a lot of different points, like how Darnell Self was saying, like, don't over talk people, like, and giving them so much information at once. Like, you can be organic, you can be just having a regular conversation. It don't have to just be throwing it in their face. Like, break it down, you know, like you having a regular conversation with your friend or someone that you meet out in public. It don't have to be like, oh yeah, buy my stuff. And also being vulnerable. I like how he said that, because now you can be relatable. Like, I'm a human being too, you know, I go through things too. And I like how he said another one, solutions. Like, okay, you had this problem, how did you solve it? Because if we're matching each other's problems, at that point, we just licking each other's wounds. You know, we not really like, okay, I got a problem, you got a problem, and that's it. But if you can really say, I had this problem, this is what I'm doing to solve it, or I did solve it with this, it gives somebody hope. And it feels like, you know, okay, I can get through this. This is not just the end of the ropes for me. So those are some of the things that I like how Darnell Self was just saying, like, you know, that he gave that guy the space to be vulnerable and made him feel comfortable, because a lot of people need that space to just be able to be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I can, you know, tell you, you know, of course he's not his therapist, but you know, at least he was able to have that space and share it. And now he feel comfortable with him now. And he like, okay, whatever you got to say, I'm listening, because you didn't listen to me. So that's what I got.
Absolutely. Love it. Love it. And you're so right, because everybody in Legal Shit always says we are professional problem solvers. That's what we do. That's who we are. We don't do pity parties. We don't join in the negativity. We solve problems. We help uplift people. We help empower them. Like Miss Deb Bryant was saying last week about she sells power. She sells empowerment. And that's what we do. And so it's really important to just like Mr. Buford always says, like Mr. Carruthers was just saying, just be natural, just have a conversation, because you never know, where that conversation is going to lead. And eventually it will lead to where you want it to lead in getting that exposure, getting them to take a look at the product, at the service. So yeah, just be natural, just have a conversation, just relate to people. We're not in the sales business, we're in the people business. Any other feedback?
Yeah, I like the simple part when he said he showed him the app and said, look, I can open this app, hit this button right here and get contact with the attorney right now. I don't never use the app as the hook. I'm using all of the, the things that they can do for people and the perks and all that. But when I'm in front of somebody, because I think that'll work, especially, the people that I'm around, the small businesses that are just trying to get up off the ground. You just pull the app out and be like, look, I can hit this button right here, get in contact with an attorney right now to help me with whatever I need for the business, blah, blah, blah. They're like, what? Is it that simple? So I'm going to add that to my repertoire now when I'm around people. I'm gonna automatically make sure I show them the app and show them the button where it says contact attorney. See, like, show them how simple it is. Awesome.
Absolutely, and I'm guilty of that too, Kool-Aid. I mean, because I use the app for myself, but I forget to tell people when I'm
exactly.
like that they can use the app too. It's literally that simple.
Exactly.
Anybody else? I saw you came off mute, Miss Deb. Anything?
Yeah, hi everybody. Sorry I'm late, having technical issues, and even though my camera says it's on, I don't see me. Do you?
We don't see you at the moment, but we can hear you just fine.
Good. Yeah, I'm still trying to work out the details on that. So, anyway, hi everybody.
Did you have a comment about the clip?
I can give a comment because when it comes down to relating to people, it's important that that somehow you come across very natural and be able to, within the conversation, to identify any sort of needs that they may have for the services that we're offering. And you do take that opportunity anytime you can. So I'll give you that comment, and truthfully, I was just trying to work this technical issue on my end, so I wasn't really 100% there, but thank you for the opportunity.
No worries at all. No worries at all. Well, I definitely encourage everyone to go back to the Prospect app, go to the menu on the left-hand side and click training, and then scroll down to the very bottom and watch the entire part 3 of the Power Training series. Because it really is, I mean, these little nuggets, and we have to hear these things over and over again. I know it sounds like, you're tired of hearing the same thing, but we have to hear this over and over again. We have to drill it into our brains. It has to become muscle memory. And so we have to keep getting these tools and these nuggets so that we can continue to go out there and help people. All right, last clip I want to share. It's not part of the power training, but like I said, Mr. Will Dazzy, when he did our Super Saturday last Saturday in Charlotte, this was the last video that he played. And I mean, it's like the culmination of just this whole reason why we're here and why we have to stay the course and stick it out. So I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
Out of nowhere, she gets a knock on the door. When my mom opens up the door, the gentleman on the other end, he hands my mom these legal documents. She starts flipping through the pages, and then she realizes that the property is going to foreclosure. She picks up the phone and she calls them up. And she goes, "Hello? Oui, this is Marie. Yes, I received the papers in the mail. It says that the property is going to foreclosure. But I don't understand. Every month I pay the landlord on time. Every month I pay him. I don't understand why the property is going through foreclosure." The lady on the line could tell that my mom sincerely did not understand what was going on. She said, "Oh, Marie, even though you've been paying the landlord money every single month on time, the landlord has a mortgage. The mortgage is attached to the property. Because of that, the bank has the right to foreclose. And so, ma'am, the property is gonna go to foreclosure." And so my mom asked her, "Do you think that maybe I can go to the foreclosure sale? Whoever buys the property, I will be a good tenant for them. I will stay in the property. I will pay them the rent. Please, do you think that they will let me stay?" And you know what the lady told my mom? She said, "Ma'am, it's not even worth you showing up. Whoever buys that property is not gonna wanna keep your little restaurant in there." So my mom was devastated. She's like, "This is how I take care of my two boys. I got all my life savings into this property." And so about 2 weeks later, my mom says, "You know what? I know that sometimes you don't just have to listen to what people tell you." My mom shows up to the foreclosure sale. She's expecting a room full of investors, but to her surprise, there's only two people there: the auctioneer and the representative from the bank. Now, before my mom could realize what's going on, the auctioneer steps up to the podium and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start the bidding process on 540 West Atlantic Avenue. If you're here to bid on the property, please raise your hand." And so naturally, the representative from the bank is standing over here. She raises her hand. My mom, who had no intentions on bidding on the property, doesn't even know how this thing works. My mom decided to take an act of faith and raise her hand. The auctioneer said, "Very well, we're gonna start the bidding process at 30,000. Can I get a 30,000? The representative from the bank is standing here, says 30,000. My mom's still in the game, no money, 35,000. It gets over here to the bankers, that banker says 36,000. This goes on and on. Now they're in the 40s, now they're in the 50s, now they're in the 60s, now they're in the 70s. It gets over here to the banker, that banker says 76,000. Now, my mom's like, "I might as well have some fun. I don't have any money anyway. We must be playing with some Monopoly money." And so my mom, attitude and all, my mom goes, 76,500. The representative from the bank is standing here with a clip pad. She picks up the clip pad and she says nothing. The auctioneer's got to keep the process going. He goes 76,500 going once, no answer. He goes 76,500 going twice, no answer. He goes 76,500 sold to who? My mom, the woman who had no intentions on bidding on the property. And so my mom is excited she won the bid. And then she's like, "Wait a second, I actually have to have the money." And so they told her, "You got 30 days to come up with the money." And so my mom would go home. She'd pull out a notepad and she'd start writing down the names of all of her friends and all of her family members, one by one. And she would call them up and tell them the story. Some would lend her 1,000. Some would lend her 2,000. Some would lend her 3,000. Some lend her 4,000. Some lend her 5,000. And she's 3 days away. And she's still $30,000 short. And my mom's thinking, maybe this isn't meant to be. And then her telephone rings. And it's her friend Yvonne's. And when her friend calls her up, my mom says, "Yvonne's, no, it's too late. I have 3 days. I still need $30,000. Yvonne said, "No, Marie, listen. I know you've been calling us. But me and my husband, we've been saving up money to buy a house. We heard you call us. We heard the voicemails. Right now, we've saved up $30,000. We prayed about it. We talked about it. And we want to lend you the $30,000. So my mom would go and get the money from Evo's and all of her friends and all of her family members. And she would drive over to the bank and get a cashier's check. She would get back in the car, drive up to Palm Beach, look at that big, thick cashier's window with the little hole at the bottom. My mom would proudly take that cashier's check and slide it through the little hole. And that day, my mom went from being the tenant to being the landlord, all because she was willing to show up. And so here's what I say to you. There are going to be times that you're going to be wondering, why should I keep showing up and working my business? Why should I keep picking up the phones and making the phone calls? Why should I keep fighting for my goals and fighting for my dreams? And what I want to remind you is that you got to show up for your life regardless of the circumstances. You got to show up in spite of the naysayers. You got to show up in spite of the conversation going on in your mind. You got to show up for your life. Because if you don't, nobody else will.
All right. Show up, y'all. Show up for yourself. Show up for your business. Show up. That's all I'm gonna say. Show up. Thank you all. Does anybody have any final words?
Reminds me of the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That was powerful, amazing, and I feel reignited.
I love it. I love it.
Well, if you're reignited, I'm on fire because that was awesome. For my first, within my clients, my prospects, I'm very excited too.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, just show up, y'all. If you show up, God will do the rest. Just show up. All right.
Before we wrap up, speaking of showing up, look, I'm just going to give you all a little game. For those of you who are new, but maybe even those of you who are seasoned and still don't know, one of the most effective ways to show up in this business is Performance Club. And I'm telling you, after over a decade with this company, they're not going to announce it now. But I promise you, in the month of March, they're going to put some type of incentive on the table. They're going to put some type of competition on the table. And it's going to be focused on Performance Club. So let me tell you what transpired 2 years ago at a convention 2 years ago. A lot of people aren't even aware of it. But because I Performance Club, the 2 months before a convention, when I got to convention, they gave me a credit card with over $500 on it. Okay. So I'm just giving you a little bit of game in advance. They're not going to announce it right now. They're going to do it probably in like the first 5 days in March to incentivize people to get in the Performance Club. So for those of you who are dragging your feet, just know that they do this regularly. So there's like a week left in a month. If you are not Performance Club qualified, I strongly encourage you to do it because they're going to tie that incentive to your Performance Club in the month of February, and they're going to tie that Performance Club to your performance in the month of March. And they do it regularly. All right. So if you talk to anyone who's been around for a minute and regularly Performance Club qualifies, nothing like going to convention, checking in, registering, and then they hand you a debit card with $700 on it. It's pretty cool. So I'm just letting you know, a little bit of game here, right? Get your Performance Club qualify in so you'll be one of the individuals who's eligible for it.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that tidbit there, Mr. Beeford. All right. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
Just want to say that was a very, very powerful video, and it definitely touched my heart. Like, if you do the work, God will meet you halfway.
Mm-hmm. And I will post a link to that in Slack. So if you guys want to watch it again and again and again and again, you can. But thank you all so much for your time tonight. Really appreciate it. So next week will be part 4 of the Power Training Series. We have 2 more parts. So next week is part 4. So make sure you tune in again for part 4 of the Power Training.
Thank you.
Awesome job, Adia. Awesome job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
You too.
See you